Hello, everyone. Welcome to the first SnowOnly and SnowOnly Plus live webinar. Apologies if there was confusion with the timings. We've just noticed that people were here an hour ago. It's coming. We scheduled it for now, but obviously not. So apologies if you have been waiting for the past hour for us to join the webinar. My name is Jake Roscoe. I'm Managing Director of SnowOnly Plus. Some of you might have seen my videos, or I might have been on a call with some of you guys. We're also joined by Mark Lightfoot, owner, founder, brains behind SnowOnly.com. Mark, how are you on this lovely evening?
Yeah, super good. Yeah, excited. Yep.
Perfect.
Thank you for everyone that's attended.
Perfect. So today we're going to be discussing, well, we're going to give a roundup of last season, what went well, what didn't go so well, what buyers were looking for, what buyers are looking ahead of next season, how we can help people like yourself along the buying journey in France. And yeah, Mark's going to share lots of nuggets of what resorts are the most popular, what buyers are actually looking for in their searches, and what you guys are looking for as well. And also how to have a successful buying process and how to be prepared for the upcoming season. So without further ado, Mark, would you like to tell us about the SnowOnly story and how it all came about?
Yeah, of course. Thanks, Jake. I just want to give a bit of context. So a lot of people we speak to don't think that I have zero knowledge of real estate and skiing. So I just want to set the scene a little bit. So SnowOnly was kind of founded in around 2017, and the idea was to kind of create an amalgamation of ski property in one place, so buyers can browse all properties available. I did this when I was kind of doing real estate in Thailand. I'll go into that maybe on a different phone call. But today we have around 9,000 ski properties in 289 resorts across 15 countries, so quite a lot. We work with the best-in-class partners to find the right properties for the people that are looking. My own personal experience, I've been in real estate for around 25 years, a lot of it in high net worth real estate, and been fortunate enough to ski all over the world, France, Switzerland, Austria, Italy, Japan when I was in Asia, New Zealand, and spent a considerable amount of time in Chamonix, where I lived, and in St. Anton in Austria, where I lived for a short time as well. So SnowOnly was born by basically combining my passions of real estate and skiing. One of the things that we always try to do with SnowOnly is encouraging buyers to have conversations with you and I, not to sell specific properties, but just to put more of an understanding on people's requirements and put people in touch with our partners that we've kind of amalgamated over the last 10 years. Just speaking to the right people just makes life a lot easier for the buyers. It makes it a lot more efficient, and it just makes it a lot of a smoother process, because obviously there's a lot of different directions you can go on the internet. During the SnowOnly's evolution in the last 10 years, we noticed there was a fundamental need for an additional service, hence why you're here, Jake, finding the best in class for our buyers who are investing in the Alps, whether by saving money in currency or securing people's investments via life insurance and everything in between. SnowOnly Plus was born, fronted by you, working in unison with me, to guide the buyers to the best in class in the industry to save time, energy, and money on things that are fundamentally important when buying a ski property. I'm sure you will elaborate a little bit later. One of the things, you'll see the slide that's up. I won't go through all of them, but one of the things that I just want to quickly point out, we're not a broker, we're more an advisor. So we work with brokers and developers. So when people come to us, we find out what their set criteria is, and then we point them in the right direction to the best people in resort, and most people that have either developers or direct mandates to make that process a lot easier.
So thanks for the intro, Mark. Really appreciate that. I hope it was clear for everyone what we do and who we are and how we're trying to help buyers with their ski property purchases. So it would be good to know, before we go into why other people are buying or choosing the Alps to buy or invest, or ski property in general, what are anyone that's on the call, feel free to pop a comment in the chat. We want to get to know you guys. We want to understand what your requirements are. We want to know what's of interest to you. So it'd be good to understand why you have decided to join this webinar, and also what sort of property you're looking for, and why you're choosing the Alps in general.
Yeah, so basically a lot of these, all this data is basically taken from SnowOnly. We haven't kind of reached out to external data. This is what we've seen coming into our site. Year-on-year inquiries and sales have continued to grow as buyers' priorities evolve. We're entering a period where more people are being drawn to the Alps, not solely for skiing, which is the important factor, but more for the lifestyle, wellness, and long-term investment opportunities they offer. The key reasons we've kind of put on the slide of why people are looking to invest, but I just want to go through and just elaborate a little bit more on those things. So number one, in no particular order, in all honesty, the rising temperatures around the world are making people look for cooler climates, whether people have a long-term view or just escapism for a few weeks over winter and summer. Inquiries have increased massively from places like the Middle East, where there are a lot of expats, and just basically a lot of places that are just getting too hot in the summer. The Alps always holds a particular cooler climate for people, lots of space, lots of nature, so it's attracting a lot of people in the moment. A place that also has year-round living. The Alps is evolving into a place that offers year-round living. We're no longer reliant on just selling the 16 to 20 weeks of the ski season. Fundamentally, it's changed now for people's inquiries. We now add on the 8 to 10 weeks of the summer season. We have people that basically inquire with us that have zero intention of skiing and only want to use it for the summer. So we can see that buyer is broadening to not just a ski buyer. A lot of the reasons that people want to be there is because of the clean air, the healthier lifestyle, access to an abundance of nature on your doorstep, which we all know. Outdoor exercise, hiking, biking, to name just a few, and just simply being in nature for all generations. And it is for all generations, because you've got the biking for the younger generation, and you've got the walking and hiking for slightly older generation as well. So there is something for everyone. That legacy for the family is just, I guess it goes through every generation that there is. As I've just said, actually, a legacy purchase for families. One of the first ever articles that we wrote was on legacy purchases around 10 years ago, and that hasn't changed. One of the things that people don't really factor in, it's not really a conversation we have, but it is an interesting conversation I had with someone recently. The Alps is very safe. If you look at Meribel in particular, or someone like Courchevel or Flaine or something like that, they're all at the end of a cul-de-sac. So if you look at Meribel, like, there's very limited crime, because there's one road back to Moutier, which is about 20 kilometers long. So you're hardly going to do anything too bad, because you can just call the police to pick you up at the end of the road. So I think from that safety aspect is really good for high net worth and ultra high net worth individuals that feel like they can come and not have an abundance of crime on their doorstep. So again, I think that's a really good pull-in factor. It is unique. I have this conversation with many people. There's not an alternative to the Alps. I mean, where would you go apart from the Alps in terms of what it offers in all the fundamentals? I think it's an incredible place to be. And I think there's no real data for this, but I think we all accept that kind of post-COVID, post-Brexit, climate change, the war that's going on at the moment, everything is just driving people to the Alps. It's basically like, if you look at COVID, it's completely, the Alps are the opposite of what we had through COVID. It's space, it's nature, it's exercise, all those things. And I think that people realize that life is quite short, so they're making that purchase in the Alps sooner rather than later. A great place to work, again, come back to COVID as well, in terms of dual season, easily accessible from Geneva. And a great environment for kids with an abundance of activities, especially in the summer, and a place that I would take my son and know that he was entertained for the entire time. Less crowded environments, especially in the summer. And one of the things as well, solid investments, stable market, although not the primary reasons, the right property can be a very good investment, especially locking into off-plan properties in prime locations, something that we talked about on some old YouTube videos as well. So you can kind of refer back to them if you want to get my opinion on buying into off-plan properties. Sorry, your next one, Jake.
Amazing, thanks, Mark. Sorry about that. My slide wasn't moving. Which are the most popular resorts? So we get this question a lot. We've got a slide on this next, but again, it would be interesting to see the people that are on the webinar. What's your favorite resort? Why is it your favorite resort? Where's your favorite place to ski, especially in France and in the Alps? It'll be great to understand where people are looking and what they're searching for.
Yeah, again, data that was taken in the last, let's say, 12 months of inquiries that have come in. What I really love about this slide is the inquiries for 25, 26. What's super interesting, if we just kind of go through them in case people can't really see, I'll go through them quickly. In order, it was Megève, Morzine, Courchevel, oh my God, my glasses aren't working very well, Alpe d'Huez, Val d'Isère, Les Ouches, La Plagne, Les Deux Alpes, Tignes, and Méribel. What I like about this is, as I've explained before, is that Megève and Morzine, everyone's at the moment, because of the climate change, everyone's talking about high altitude resorts, the need for skiing, access to skiing, guaranteed snow. But actually, the most inquiries we got for the first two are at 1,000 meters. So Megève and Morzine, they have an abundance of activities. I just actually came back from Morzine, and it's open, it's thriving, and Megève and places like Saint-Gervais. They've got so many people going on at the moment. I think it reiterates how much of a pull it is for people inquiring for dual season resorts rather than just fundamentally higher ski resorts. Like Megève has always been not considered the best skiing in the world. Good if it's good, but if it's not, you'd probably go somewhere else. But the fact that it's pretty much open all year round just makes it a lifestyle thing for people, wellness facilities with all the shops and stuff like that. So we can see just from this slide that the buyers' criteria is changing quite a lot. What we'll notice with all of these is that they all have quite extensive ski areas. I know that seems pretty obvious, but you do get people inquiring about how big the ski area is. So if you're looking at someone like Méribel, although it's 650 kilometers of piece, and I don't think you'll probably ski all of it in your lifetime, I'm sure there's always another place to go. People do like these larger ski areas and more iconic ski areas so they don't get bored. In all these developments, in all these resorts, there are lots of new developments going on. I think we'll touch on that next about the new developments and why people are kind of looking into the new developments. But it's always the typically very well-known resorts that don't have to be sold to the buyer, that people are familiar with, that drive the most traffic. There are a lot of up-and-coming resorts. Just to name one, like Les Cibels, I think we've done quite a lot of promotion for that. The issue with a lot of those resorts is that people aren't that familiar with it. So the timeline of people buying takes a lot longer, because then they want to go and ski there before they end up buying there, which then can take 12 months and then maybe an additional 6 months to purchase. So sometimes you're 18 months away, where people want to move a little bit quicker than that. So they tend to move in resorts that they are familiar with. Also, the top two and some others, obviously, but the top two are very close to Geneva. And as we get a lot of people that now coming from the likes of Hong Kong, Singapore, Thailand, even Dubai, access to Geneva is fundamental. And if you're going to use it a little bit more frequently, having something that's only an hour and 20-minute drive from Geneva is where we get a lot of inquiries. That's not to say places like Tignes, for example, haven't been very successful this year. There's been some new developments launching there that have sold out very, very quickly. There's a couple of new developments in places like Lavachet that are selling very, very well. Again, I think that is more for the criteria of people that do want the high altitude resorts, the guaranteed snow, but maybe less than the likes of Morzine, Chamonix and Megève in terms of the summer activities, although it does have good summer activities. Again, the extensive Ispaskili ski area then gets a lot of attention. So I think in summary, a lot of the iconic resorts always get the attention. The other ones play a little bit of catch up. It's just a bit of a longer sail. But at the end of the day, you can make a case for all of them because they are all ski areas in the Alps. So you can always make a case. One of the things that I just want to, before we move on, is sometimes the trick is that we have people inquiring after ski properties with unrealistic affordability. So for example, if you have, let's for example say €1 million budget and you're looking for a 3 to 4 bedroom at 100 square meters, and you're looking in somewhere like Meribel. Well, Meribel is certainly not €10,000 a square meter. So it just, if you work it out quite quickly, and I'm not too sure that information is that accessible. SnowOnly have kind of built something over the last 18 months that will be able to show you the price per square meter of sales in the last 5 years for every resort in the French Alps that we'll be launching soon. So please look out for that.
Perfect. Thanks, Mark. So again, what is the main buying criteria? You know, we have a lot of different filters on site. If you go on any property portal, ours are specifically tailored to ski property. So yeah, it'd be great to understand off anyone on the chat, what is your main criteria that you look for when you are searching for a property, and we will talk about the ones that we see the most on site as well.
I will try to get through as quickly as possible, Jake, because I know you've got quite a lot of stuff to talk about as well, and we need to go and watch the football. So one of the things, 25 years ago, I was selling ski holidays, and something stuck with me really apparent is that in every person that we put in a ski holiday, and I'm literally mean 100%, no one asked for a ski property that was 10 minutes down the road connected to a bus. Ski in, ski out has always been what people want from a rental perspective. I think even from a summer perspective, I'm not saying that doesn't suit you. It doesn't mean you don't have to do it. But if we're looking for demand in terms of resale, in terms of investment, that would be always the place that I would look. Ski in, ski out is kind of synonymous with skiing and always drives the most buyers towards it. So ski in, ski out is the obvious choice for those kind of things, for rental investment as well, and just the prestige of the property. People like to say that they have a ski in, ski out property. Secondly, off plan, super inquired about. One of the main reasons is because during the ski season, a lot of the completed properties are rented, so it's difficult to access them. Off-plan properties you can get into very, very easily, or not even that. If they're genuine off-plan properties, there might only be a piece of land to look at, and the dream is always bigger than the reality. The reality you can judge, the dream you can make up as big as you want. So the off-plan sales tend to work a lot quicker. They have a lot of things going for them: brand new, modern appliances, lower notary fees, stage payments. You can change your design. So I think there's a lot of things that kind of lend itself to the off-plan. Again, we did a video on this on our YouTube channel that you can kind of catch up on. Second one, again, modern appliances. I've kind of gone over that. One of the things that's very important is the wellness facilities, because a lot of people are actually, we spoke to one developer recently, and I'm sure a lot of the developers are considering this, but they will not build a development now without wellness facilities, such as the demand for wellness facilities. It's very common. We've had lots of families where one of them doesn't want to ski, and they would happily just be in the spa all day. So again, if we're looking to buy, if it has the wellness facilities, I think it attracts a lot. And the fact that after a hard day skiing, you can go and prepare yourself for next day, maybe by getting in the plunge pool and things like that. So wellness facilities are a fundamental part of ski developments nowadays. Resorts that buyers are familiar with, we've kind of gone over this a little bit before, such as the Three Valleys is still a reason that people are buying. They like to know the fact that they know the person in the local bar, they've had an experience, they've nested in this place for a while, they know the ski runs. So it's very easy to we don't try and convince people to do other resorts, but if they're familiar with a resort and that is the dream, then we just try and follow that path for them. Again, a dual season resort is on everyone's lips at the moment. Not everyone, I would say 8 out of 10 people are after that dual season resort, or at least being able to get some ROI during the summer season. And last but not least, which is super, super important, is buying with a developer that has a history of building, something that you can kind of go in and touch, see what they've built previously, just to have some confidence in what they're building. Actually, we're going through this situation with a buyer at the moment and who's buying from the US, and he wanted to know all the history of the developer, and the fact that we can show him previous developments gave him the confidence to move forward. But in summary, there's something for all criteria. What I would urge is have a call with me, find out what you're after, and then I can obviously explain what the best thing for you is. But in all, that's pretty much what people are searching for at the moment. You can take a screenshot of the slide or have a call with me. There you go, Jake.
Perfect. Amazing. Thank you very much, Mark. It was super helpful. Bang on time as well, which is lovely. So my side of the business is SnowOnly Plus. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, what is SnowOnly Plus? Mark touched on it earlier. We've been going for 8 to 10 years now, right, Mark? And we've realized over time that, the buying services are a bit more boring than actually looking for the property, but they're so, so, so important to having a successful purchase. So we created a different side of the business, which runs alongside your search, alongside your process. And yeah, I'm essentially a Rodri or a Declan Rice of your ski property purchase journey, basically. So the main 3 services that we offer that most of our clients need, like some of you might need some of you might need some others, but the main ones are mortgages, currency exchange, because you're buying abroad more often than not, and legalities. So when you're buying in France, you need a French notaire. Having a bilingual French notaire that lives in the Alps and knows the French system inside out is a vital contact to have when with any French purchase. It doesn't even have to be a ski property purchase. So SnowOnly Plus is essentially a whole buying service. We try and help as many of our buyers as much as we can with as many contacts that they're going to need along their way to make their process as smooth as possible. Mortgages, we're going to talk about mortgages first. Now, mortgages are a massive part of our business because I'd say around about half of our buyers, they're looking to leverage either a mortgage in France or a mortgage in their home country. More often than not, it's a mortgage in France, simply because the rates are a lot cheaper than they are in the US, and they are a lot cheaper than they are in the UK as well. So let's talk about mortgages. We've recently partnered with a mortgage broker that is now offering up to 100 and 110% mortgages. Now, the way that they do this, if you look at the middle, there's 2 case scenarios here, one for the UK and one for the US. If you look at the middle box of the 3, that is the 100% mortgage structure. So essentially what the broker does is they use collateral, so whether that be shares, investments, property in your home country or your portfolio. You put down 50% of the collateral of the value of the property that you're interested in, and they're able to lend you up to 100, in some cases 110% mortgage, which means that all your fees will be included in the purchase as well. So this is a game changer for the ski industry, because we haven't seen this, well, in the 10 years that we've been operating, we've never really come across this kind of structure before. So what does that mean? That means essentially that if you're buying a ski property to rent out and your ROI is roughly anywhere between 3 and 4%, that you could essentially be buying as you can see, I don't know if you can see the mortgage rates on here, but roughly they're about 3.25% on 100% mortgage. You're essentially getting the property for free, obviously not for free, but someone else is essentially buying your property with the rental income that it's generating and without putting a penny down to purchase that property. So Super interesting to connect with either myself or, I can explain it in a bit more detail, but obviously with our partner as well. So if this is something, if you're looking to get financing for a French purchase and this is something that might be of interest to you, then please do reach out and we will be able to help you with this structure. Now we move on to currency. Now currency is, a lot of people think, oh yeah, currency doesn't really have to think about it, etc., etc. Look at this graph. This graph is from 2020 up to 2026. Now, as you can see, over the 6 years, this is from pounds to euros, but also there's a graph for US dollar to euros as well, which is our main two currency pairs for our buyers. Things happen, COVID happens, Brexit happens, wars happen, politics change, different prime ministers. And as you can see, all of these things have a massive effect or can have a massive effect on the currency exchange markets. Now, in the space of 6 years, we're talking about I think it's about a 13 or 14% swing. Now, if you're adding 13, 14% onto your euro budget, then all of a sudden you might be priced out of that lovely, nice ski home that you're interested in buying. Now, we always recommend using a currency broker simply because they can mitigate this risk. They have something called a forward contract, which is really useful towards when you're buying a ski property. This is something that your high street bank or a platform like a Wise or a Revolut won't offer. So that's why we always recommend speaking to a broker early, understanding your budget in euros, and really getting to know, okay, I can afford, I've got €1 million to work with. Now I know exactly how much I can spend in euros. Let's go and search for some properties with that budget or with that affordability from the mortgage as well. So super important part of the process, and people leave this too late usually. And then they're chasing the tail, and they've already, we call them a black swan event. A black swan event happened, and all of a sudden the rate's gone up 10, 15% overnight, and they've now been priced out of their property purchase. So if this is you, if this is resonating with you, and you're a bit further down the funnel, then let me know, and we can introduce you to. We work with a few different brokers. We can understand which one's best for you, and pass you over to them. Not a problem, or I can deal with you directly myself. So obviously there should be a slide on Notaires here as well, but I touched on that earlier. Notaires are they're obligatory when buying a French property. You have to go, it's a bit different to the UK. You have to use a notaire. They check all the legalities, they make sure everything's running smoothly, all the I's are dotted, all the T's are crossed, etc., etc. Insurances, again, something that people don't really think about until it's almost too late, but insurances are very important, especially if you're renting your house out in France. So if you're looking to buy a ski property to rent out, home insurance is obligatory in France, so we can help with that. That's step number one. Step number two is inheritance tax liabilities. If you are moving out of the UK or the US into France, you will be susceptible to UK inheritance tax on your worldwide estates now compared to what you was a couple of years ago. So super important to get that mitigated one way or another. One thing that we do like to recommend is using affordable life insurance, because again, unfortunately every year there's quite a few deaths on the slopes. We don't like to talk too much about death, but that is the reality of things. Avalanches. We all saw what happened in Switzerland last year with the fires. So having some life insurance, buying peace of mind for your family in case you or one of your family members passes away, is a really important and useful part of the process. And also our wealth manager that deals with the insurances can also advise you on the inheritance tax liability that you may be leaving behind in the UK when moving abroad as well. So 3 really important services that lots of our buyers leverage, and these are 4 actually important services that a lot of buyers leverage. And we always say to people, before the ski season starts, get all your ducks in a row. A lot of people like to do it the other way around. They find a property and then they're like, oh, I need a mortgage. Can you get me a mortgage? It takes 3-4 weeks to get a mortgage. And by that time, we've had a couple of cases this year, Mark, where the property has been sold to someone else, or someone else has been in a position to buy and they've lost the property. So getting all your ducks in a row, getting all the services in place, having those contacts in place before your search is super important for you then to be able to have a successful trip when you go out to France and focus on the important thing, which is finding the right property. Okay, so let me just go back to mortgages quickly, because I didn't mention about the pre-qualification. So having a pre-qualification before your search can be really, really important and give you a really good buy-in sign, not just for developers, but also for estate agents as well. So if you've gone down the process of getting a pre-qualified mortgage and you have a piece of paper from your mortgage broker saying that you are guaranteed to get a mortgage for X amount of euros, then this stands you in really good stead, because the agents, obviously, if you're going to resort in December, January, February, agents need to prioritize their time. So if they've got someone that's ready to go and they've already gone through that process, then they know you're a serious buyer and they know that you want to get there and try and find something. So super, super important. Okay, we've got, again, everyone's case is different. Mark, I don't know if you want to chip in here yourself or not. Everyone's case is different. Everyone's case is unique. Of course, everyone's requirements are also different as well. We've got 10 slots over the next few days, 30-minute slots. You can have a chat with Mark if you're earlier on in the process about the property side of things. You can have a chat with myself if you're happy with, how the webinar's gone, what you've heard on here. I can help you more with the buying process side of things. So yeah, feel free, scan the QR code. There's 10 slots there. Feel free to grab one of them. And yeah, we'll be more than happy to talk you through the process in a bit more detail to your specific requirements before the 2026-2027 ski season. So we've probably got 10 minutes or so for questions. We're going to leave this slide on the screen. If anyone has any questions about their specific case or just a general question in general, then please pop it in the chat and we'll more than happily answer that. I think we had a couple of questions submitted when people were signing up, Mark. I'm not sure if we have those there or not.
I'll let you look for that, Jake. One of the things that I just want to, before we go and everyone enjoys the semi-finals, one of the things that I just want to reiterate is that we have had a lot of cases last season where people were, the reason for this webinar was that we were trying to get, as Jake said, people's ducks in order. I think one of the main things is that people haven't had their ducks in order, and as Jake kind of touched on it, we have had situations where the best properties that come available sell very, very quickly. We know when a good property comes up, and when it does, we try and encourage people to move quickly. If you're not in a position to move quickly, fundamentally you're going to lose out, and that happened quite a few times last season, where people either haven't had their mortgage approved or got a mortgage in principle, that they were just a little bit behind in what they were doing, and then obviously the inevitable question always comes up that says, can you send us something that's similar to what's just sold? Well, there isn't anything. So we do encourage people to speak to Jake. If you are genuinely interested in a ski property, and you do get all your ducks in order, and you do go through filling in a few forms and getting everything approved, it is better to be in that position for when you're moving forward. Actually, we had an interesting case recently where a lady had an offer on a penthouse through us, and 3 hours later someone then again offered the same money, but it was that close because it was such a good property. So luckily she had all her ducks in order and she was willing to move forward. So, but it can be that close. Just wanted to make that point, Jake.
Thanks, Mark. So I've popped the questions in here. I found them. So let me just show them on the webinar. So this question is probably for me. I kind of touched on this a minute ago. Can I get a mortgage before finding a property? Technically, you can. I mean, my advice would be get a pre-qualification before finding the property, because, again, you can't really get a mortgage on something that you don't know how much it is. So the last thing you want to do is get a mortgage for, well, you can't really, until you've got you get a pre-qualification first, and then with that pre-qualification, then you can sign the reservation contract for the property. We're going through this process at the moment with one of our buyers where, to be able to sign the reservation contract, he has to have that mortgage in principle to be able to take that next step with the developer. So that kind of answers this question. The next question was from Steve. So Steve, if you're on the webinar, thank you very much for submitting that when you signed up. And we have another question here as well from John. I think this one's more for you, Mark, again, for trying and answer this as best as you can without understanding his case.
I'm looking for a ski property rent out in the summer months. Realistically, how many weeks will I be able to rent my property out for? And can you give me an estimated yield? Difficult to give you an estimated yield based just on the summer, because it's not really how it works. But how many weeks? So typically it's 8 to 10 weeks, I would say. I think what I think is that the summer and the winter are going to merge a lot more as we move forward in years. I think sometimes what we see today is not what we're going to see in 10 years' time. So you might have that kind of merge because people appreciate different parts of the year. So currently it's 8 to 10 weeks. It wouldn't surprise me in 5 years' time that it was a lot more than that. I think the main thing is in terms of estimated yield, again, it comes down to location for these type of things. I think people want the convenience. If you look at somewhere like, as I said before, Morzine, Saint-Gervais, Chamonix, Megève, all these places, as soon as the ski season shuts, they're pretty much open again for the summer season once the conversion has gone through. So if you're looking for a higher yield, I would recommend those type of resorts, because typically they would rent out in the winter anyway. I don't think it's difficult to rent them out into winter, but you will get more appreciation through the summer as well.
Amazing, thank you. Well, it doesn't look like we've got any questions from anyone that's live on the webinar. Just before we wrap up, again, feel free to scan the QR code if you want to book a one-to-one slot with us. We'll be able to help you out with the process. Like Mark was saying before, we're here to help. We don't mind where you buy. We're trying to give you unbiased advice on the process, on the property. We're not an estate agent. We're not a developer. We're here to help understand your requirements and really point you in the right direction depending on what it is that you're looking for. So if you want that unbiased advice, then feel free to scan the QR code and we'll be happy to have a one-to-one with anyone that's on this call. Mark, thank you very much. Thank you for everyone that has joined us so far. We appreciate the 37 minutes that we have taken. And yeah, Mark, unless you have anything to say, I think we could leave it here.
No, nothing good. Thanks for everyone for listening, whether they're watching live or recorded. Really appreciate it. Feel free to get in contact with Jake and I look forward to speaking to everyone.
Perfect. Amazing. Thank you very much, everyone, and enjoy the game.
Cheers, Jake.
Cheers. Bye-bye.